They said the truth won't survive beside the lies that maintain the decaying faces of display. Right now there's about 186 subscribers. I just need y'all, if you can, I know the COVID's going on, but if you can, at least just put $5 in there. $5 on the Kickstarter and share it also, because we need to take this to fiction. That's why you see them fighting and putting men down on games and video games. They know that fiction is the last frontier, and that's why I need your support, man. I need you to go on Kickstarter and support SIMP-TAGION. Hey everybody, what's up? This is Hold the Truth Hostage, where if the truth was so important, we wouldn't negotiate with lies. Now, I got a request, but I'm gonna do that later. But this video is a very special video. This video is about the sins of single motherhood. And this is gonna be a very long-term series. I might do a good 3 to 5 parts of this, but this is what I call sins of single motherhood. Sins of single mothers. Now, the reason this is, a very big sin is that it has long-term effects on the future children. And not just their children, as in, that single mother's own child, but their eventual child. And it will create a long-term set of limitations. Now, before I go deeper now, let's discuss the widow. Now, I think a lot of big problem in the community is that we don't discuss from a widow's perspective, as in we don't showcase or talk about the negative aspect of single motherhood from the widow's aspect. That widow that didn't want to be a single mother but happened to lose her, her husband or her boyfriend, the father of her children. We don't ever talk about that perspective and say, look at all the struggles that this widow is gonna go through. Why would you volunteer to face the same struggles as a widow in becoming a single mother? Now, this one, I'm gonna do these videos in, pieces, because I think I gotta start doing that. So this one's gonna be about the long-term debt of single motherhood to the children. Now, here's the big problem with single motherhood. Now, as I was talking about from the widow's perspective, now when a widow loses the father of her children, she now has to work harder. She now has to work harder to take care of those children and actually have less time to be with those children, to, bond with them and, basically spend a lot of family time with those children, and that's a huge aspect of being a widow, because the father's not there to, harbor some of the labor, harbor the work. So the mother would have more time with the kids and the children would have more time to be with their mother because their father's around. And that level of stability wouldn't just be, well, I see my mom when she comes from work. That's what a widow has to face. A widow will constantly, being the only parent in her children's life, will have to somehow manage the labor, going to work and actually not being in those children's lives. And those children will come to reach out to things outside of their family to find acceptance and so on, And what's gonna happen, what happens is, with a widow, is that, all that time without the father of her children involved, she's gonna lose those children to the environment. You know what I'm saying? She's going to lose those children, be it to violence, gang violence, and whatnot. You know, that's what's going to happen. You know, a lot of corruption in the community will come into her home because she's usually at work. Now, let's get to the problem. Now, here's where the long-term debt is gonna, it's gonna play a major factor. Long-term debt in the family. Now, you see, when there's a mother and a father, and this is what a lot of MGTOW channels won't speak of, because a lot of men don't calculate and don't think about this aspect, or haven't really spoken about it. So what happens is that, as I said, with a widow, once she loses the father, what happens is the children then lose the ability to focus solely upon their children when they're ready to have children and, continue the family bloodline and so on. What I mean by that is this, that once the father's been taken out of the picture, what happens is that now these kids being raised by their single mother or widowed mother, now these kids will have to worry about taking care of their mother as she gets older. Since the father isn't around, those children, when they grow up, will have to worry about their mother. And this is one of the biggest issues with single motherhood and, the widow aspect, is that children now, her children as they get older, cannot move on from their mother. Now, yes, you could move out and live on your own, but that worry that they have for their mother, that worry that they're gonna have for their mother, that usually their father would take care of. This is one of the huge things women don't think about with the way the system works, is that the effect that you breaking up with your husband's going to have, the effect it's going to have on, the effect it's going to have on you, and on your children, because now they can't move on. They have to, something that their father would have been handling, like, their father would have been handling the retirement, retirement with the children, retirement with their mom. You see, when you're in a family and that your father's around, you don't worry about your mother anymore. That's your father's job. He's the one that's supposed to worry about that, taking care of her and leading her and making sure that their expenses have been well spent. So when they retire, their children have nothing to worry about. And what's happened with this massive level of divorces and, child support and the destruction of the family is that those children can't move forward. As in, before you even have your own kids, now you're thinking, okay, your mom's working, your mom's going on 60 or whatever. Let's just say, an honest truth, most of the single mothers don't have any retirement plans. So now you have to worry about taking care of your mother at the same time you have to worry about taking care of your own kids. It adds a level of issues to it that normally that wouldn't have existed had the father been in the picture. So whenever a family breaks up, it leaves a long-term strain on the children, and damages their own futures, because now these kids have to worry about their mother. Now, let's say their father, and a lot of men in the MGTOW community like to talk and say, you know, they're not worried about the father and so on. Usually, even during divorce, usually the father's gonna be all right. You know, his head, you know, if his head is correct, you know, if he's still a logical man at the end of the day, the children won't really worry about their father. You know, their father, he'll take care of himself. And in all honesty, during a divorce, a man might actually spend his money even more wisely because now he has no choice but to do that. You know, he has to live more of a, you know, live based on his means rather than chasing luxury or things like that, because, you know, he's got alimony bills to pay and so on. So what happens when the father isn't around is that it has a long-term damage on the children moving forward, because the children are going to keep looking behind them to question, man, is mom going to be all right? You know, mom's 60 years old, or mom's going on 60 or her late 50s, man. You know, mom can't work like she used to work. You know, how are we going to keep a roof on mom's head? And at the same time, how are we going to keep a roof on our own children's head? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the big issue here. You know, the big issue is that a lot of men, a lot of the children, from the daughters to the sons, they're gonna struggle to move forward, because as they get older, their mother's gonna be more dependent on them. And what the single motherhood does in all of divorce has a long-term damage on the children moving forward, because now not only do they have to face the world, they have to keep questioning and wondering, who's going to take care of my mom? Is my mom all right? All these issues that would not have been there were their mom not to divorce. You see, a lot of men in the manosphere speak about, you know, women leaving their husbands, the divorce, and so on. A lot of them speak about that, but a lot of them don't speak about the long-term effect and long-term debt. And that debt is their mom being alive. Their mother becomes living embodiment of debt. And in actuality, the sad thing to say is that those children, the son and the daughter, or your kids will not be able to progress because their mom is a living debt and a burden in their life, because they have to keep worrying about her economic safety and her economic stability. While if their mom was with their father, you know, as it should be, and actually didn't divorce, didn't put them on child support, didn't destroy their family unit, these children would be able to move and progress forward without worrying about their mother, you know? And that's a big issue that happens with single motherhood, is that single motherhood turns the mother in the long term, in the future, into a living embodiment of a debt that their children have to continuously pay until she dies. And that debt is that these children have to take care of their mother, something that their father would have been doing had she not destroyed their family structure, you know? So, and what happens is, and what's sad is that it becomes a situation where these children would be better off if their mother passed away. Now, assuming these children don't have the means to, you know, take care of their own children, you know, let me take children out. Assuming that the son and daughter don't have the means to take care of their children along with their mother, she becomes a debt in their life. And in actuality, it becomes that they would have been better off and soon as possible if their mother passes away, because that debt would be relieved from them. Her living becomes a debt and a detriment to their own futures. Now, and to me, I think, and I'm gonna do a separate video on that where, where I'll explain why a lot of mothers, single mothers, become eventually grandmothers that are babysitters. Babysitters. I'll do that later on. But the thing is this, man, is that in being a single mother, it ensures that their children, when they grow up, their son and daughter or whatever, will have to take care of them in the future, which leaves them with less resources to take care of their own children. That's the huge problem with single motherhood. You know what I'm saying? It has a long-term damage on the children as they mature into adults because their mother becomes the living embodiment of debt. And this debt doesn't allow them to take care of their own children with as much resources as they can. Because guess what? They have to split up those resources to help take care of mom, you know? So that son can't be the best father he could be. That daughter can't be the best mother she can be because she's worried about her mother. And the other scenario is that when they get, let's assume that, a single mother's daughter gets married. Now this daughter is gonna bring in the baggage of her mother, her worrying about her own mother, who happens to be, a single mother, into that marriage, into that relationship. And now that man that married her has to worry about taking care of her mother along with their future kids. A single mother, and I'll probably do a part 2 on this, but this single mother living debt, I'll probably do a part 2, but basically this also implies to her children eventually getting married or starting their own family, because now that they have to worry about their mother as she ages, something that their father was gonna worry about and handle, now they bring in that baggage into their marriage and long-term relationships where, you're dating, for example, you're dating this girl for 5 years and she's worried about her mother. She's worried about taking care of her mother and who's going to be there for her mother while you're trying to have children and start a family. So you have to see that a single mother in the long term destroys the health and potential of her own children starting a family because they have to worry about her, so she becomes the embodiment of a debt they have to pay for. So in all honesty, man, single motherhood doesn't just hurt the children when they're young, but it hurts the children when they get older into adulthood, because the longer their mother lives, the longer the debt that she is exists, them taking care of her and all that, so it's a huge and major issue, and it has a lot of long-term issues, It will affect their children's eventual marriage, long-term relationships, and so on. Now, I don't bring the father in because the father, odds are, he'll, depending on his scenario, odds are he'll adapt. He'll adapt and take responsibility for his situation. But the mother, on the other end, being a single mother, if the divorce wasn't for reasonable means, as in, domestic abuse and such, if it wasn't for those reasons, she just wanted to leave her husband or long-term boyfriend or father of their child, she's gonna end up spending a lot of that child support money on vengeance and so on, and she's gonna try to compete with that man's own money to reward her children, but not saving for her future at all. You know, so in essence, man, a single mother is critically a long-term damage on the children. And, you know, I'll end up doing a part 2 on this one, on why single mothers are living debt. You know, I'll do a part 2, but I hope this explained a lot. And remember, guys, please support SIMP-TAGION. You could just donate $5, man. It will really help. I'm trying to bring the red pill into fiction, you know, with something fun, something amazing. So please go to the link below and support SIMP-TAGION. We're almost there. All I need. All right, guys, and remember, please support SIMP-TAGION. We need to take this red pill message and you know, more logical outlook in fiction. It can't be just them selling this false, you know, story with fiction. We have to sell the truth. All right, please support SIMP-TAGION. All you got to do is put $5 and share it. You know, the trailer, I'll attach it to this video. All right.
They said the truth won't survive beside the lies that maintain the decaying faces of. They said the truth won't survive beside the lies that maintain the decaying faces of.